Well, I don't. Okay.
Jim back.
I was like, James went bye-bye.
This is the last time you'll ever see me again. King Curtis, if you haven't seen that, everybody should go watch King Curtis.
I haven't.
Dude, everybody should go watch Diarrhea Park.
Yes, they should. All right. I'm pulling it up on my...
You mean Jurassic Shark?
Ooh. Dude, it was right there, too.
I mean, it's right there. Sounds like you really missed out on something.
Yeah. I cameo in it as a baby. You hear me crying in the background.
Wow, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't that long ago.
Oh, shoot. Shoot.
Wham, 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 wham.
Leaving this as the intro for the pod feed.
just completely pull out the normal intro and just do this. That would actually be incredible for a one-time use.
Or like doing the actual like podcast theme.
It's such a small, stupid thing, but it makes me happy that you can hum music that I wrote.
Exactly.
It's so stupid. But I'm happy.
I am so happy.
There's nothing like. Oh, I'm so. Oh, you just quoted that thing you do. It did not. It did not go by me. I promise.
Thank you. Thank you.
What an obscure that thing you do quote to.
Thanks for coming.
I'm so excited about tonight.
Classic.
That's a pickup line. We're a match made in heaven.
What a quotable movie.
Yeah, what a quotable movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
You did not give it enough stars, Drew. I'm still angry about it.
How many stars did I give it?
You did 3.5, didn't you?
I feel like I did more than that.
4 is acceptable, but I feel like you did 3.5.
I gave it 4 stars, yeah.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
What are you mad about?
Nothing.
Exactly.
I'm thinking Dumb and Dumber, which I'm mad about.
Yeah, I'm mad about that.
Mad and Matter.
Dude, for real.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and do this intro real quick. I'll do the intro and then I'll pass off the mic to you, Michael.
Let's go.
All right. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Banter Fodder podcast. I'm your host, Drew, joined by my co-hosts Michael Hoover Dam and Jimmy Jam the Walker, Texas Ranger Man. Fellas,
what is
up? What is up? That's a movie, is it not?
I don't know.
Up is yes.
Yeah. We're playing. Is it Jeopardy?
Jeopardy, yeah. What is up?
What is up? Jeopardy goes hard.
Surely there's a skit out there where they have to say, "What is up, dog?"
True. Or maybe they've actually said it on the show.
What is up, dog? Trebek.
I'll never forget. This is slightly unrelated, but also related. Wheel of Fortune. Like sometime last year, there was this guy who like tried guessing one of the things, and he was like, "Right in the butt."
Was that while Pat Sajak was still?
I think so. Yeah.
I want to know how he took that.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I love Wheel of Fortune.
Same.
Mess ups. It's so.
Oh
good.
well, yeah, and that.
Well, no, I love the game, but the mess ups are just the best. That it can go so wrong.
It can. Yeah. Anyways,
right in the butt.
Right in the butt. It's the way he said it too, because he's like, right in the butt. Crazy.
Oh.
Anyways, let's jump into things. So, Michael, what have you been watching lately?
Oh, going with me first, huh? So, I can't remember if I did this by last week, but I did. No, I did. I talked about it. I finished How I Met Your Mother. That was great. I watched, TV wise, I have started a Poker Face rewatch. I am on like episode 5, I think.
This guy's never watched
So
this
yeah, I
show.
just wanted to watch season 1 again before I finally caught up on season 2, and freaking love the show. I really, really, really love it. I think there's a section in the first season where it's like episode 3 through 4 or 5, 3 and 4, and maybe 5. Those are probably my least favorite episodes of the show. But after that, it's about to get really, really, really fun and really good. And then I can't wait for season 2. But if y'all haven't watched Poker Face, not enough people have watched Poker Face. I don't think I've talked to a single person in my real life that has watched Poker Face. So
I really need to get back to season 2 because there was like a stretch of really good episodes at the start, and there's 2 in particular that are like just absolutely fantastic, and then there's one episode that they had that was just not great. It was like easily the worst of the show. And then right after that, they had released another like incredible episode that I hadn't watched yet. And I remember Gabe, actually, who's, friend of the pod, he had messaged me and he's like, hey, have you watched this episode yet? And I was like, no. And then like now, that ship has sailed. So I need to get back to it eventually because it's a great show.
You should get back to it because I'll be on season 2 soon. We can get through it together.
Whenever you start season 2, I'll get back to it.
Will do. I'm just honestly counting down the days so I can watch Escape from Ship Mountain again because that that episode rules. So yeah, go watch that if you haven't. The only movie I've watched other than the one we're talking about tonight is I got to go. Stone made me laugh earlier. That's why I laughed. I got to go to the theater, and watch the 50th anniversary re-release of Jaws. And yeah, that was great because I've only seen that movie, I think I watched it a couple times back when we covered it on the podcast. I feel like I might have watched it twice right around then. But that was it. That's literally all I've seen it in my entire life. And so definitely haven't seen it in the theater until this. And it was awesome. It was incredible. So I loved every second of that experience. I think one of my favorite things, there's a lot of bad about COVID, but I think one of the decent things that came out of it was just constant re-releases in the theater. I don't feel like that was a steady stream like it is now before COVID, and it definitely is now. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's one of my favorite things now. Just like going and rewatching or going and watching anniversary re-releases of movies I love. It's so good. Oftentimes it's like releases of movies that I hadn't seen in the theater before, like Titanic. That was awesome.
The success of some of these re-releases has like filled me with such joy. Like when Return of the Jedi just did like bonkers numbers. And like Shin Godzilla making more on its re-release than it did its initial US run.
Did it really?
Like,
I didn't know that. That's
like,
nuts.
Like these re-releases are just like, they're incredible. And they all like, when the movie is good, like the Back to the Future is about to have, like they're pulling out the stops for this. And
I cannot wait.
Yes.
I feel like that's what we talked about too. Whenever we talked about re-releases, is like people will go if you make it seem like it's a big deal. Like if it's just like, oh, so and so's back in the theater, it's like, oh, whatever. But like whenever you're like the 40th anniversary, it's back to like whenever you're making like ads about it, whenever you're seeing stuff, it just making it feel important. You're like, oh, whoa, that's cool. I should go I should go see that.
Yeah, so, agreed. But yeah, that's it. That's all really I've been watching. Other than every now and then I catch an episode of Gilmore Girls with my wife. she's
Nice.
doing her fall rewatch per usual.
The bits and pieces that I've seen of that show, it's actually really good.
I genuinely enjoy that show. There is a point when it gets bad, but I really do like that show.
I fear that I would get sucked in because it just looks like.
I do think you'd like it. I do.
It is definitely James coded for sure.
Yeah, like it looks like insane fall vibes in a small town. I'm like, dang it, yes, I would of course I would like this. Recurring characters in a small town with just yeah.
It's all right up your alley.
Indeed. Yeah. Speaking of alleys, Jim, what's been up your alley for movies? Had to get a little ominous there, you know?
I'm tempted to go back to Celebrity Jeopardy, Sean Connery, but I'll refrain.
Speaking of alleys.
No, this has been slow movie watching for me as well. I've kind of been on a Next Generation kick, getting back into my Star Trek mood.
Let's go.
Really, really having a good time with this. Speaking in like just of like comfort things, TNG is just like when you look at the bridge, those are like cozy leather lounge chairs. Those aren't like the metallic captain's chair. Like everything looks like an 80s lounge in the best way. And the deck on that starship is carpeted. Like that's what we're dealing with. I love it. It is one of the coziest shows ever. So I'm having a great time with that. So as far as movies, I've only had a couple rewatches since our last app. I watched, and they were both kind of in the same category. I rewatched Clive Barker's Hellraiser, which I like. It's one of those ones where it's got really great ideas, and it's got really great drama on paper, and some of that good drama really does come through the movie, but in other ways it feels like it's like, man, if only a more experienced hand could have done this. Like, it's got really cool, really great effects. The final shot of this movie is gnarly. It is. It's rough. Well, no, I guess that's not the final shot. The final shot of a certain character in this movie is gnarly. But overall, good. I do enjoy it. And then I rewatched John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness, which is a movie that I like quite a lot. It stars Sam Neill in a horror role, which is just great. And he's great. What's funny is I feel like his American accent in Jurassic Park is flawless, just like purely flawless. His Australian accent, or he's a Kiwi, I can't remember. Whichever, his accent comes through constantly in The Mouth of Madness. He's like, "No, I'm gonna find out what's really, really going on." I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be American. But his performance itself is still great. It's a really fun horror movie. Again, it's got like any horror property that deals with like a small town with a creepy secret, like anything like that. I'm like, oh man, I love this. And then that only gets amplified by like 12 if it also deals with like a horror writer. Like if the horror story involves a horror novelist, that's immediately like skyrocketing my interest. So, and it's got the fun 90s vibes where like we weren't doing, CGI for everything. There's just really cool practical effects, practical tricks, really cool. Like there's a couple of, you can tell that they're starting to do CGI on a couple things, but generally it's just really, really clever camera stuff, and really, really cool, like monster creature effects stuff. So, with a really, really cool, really memorable ending. So I'm a big fan of that one, but that's it for me.
Heck yeah. I still need to watch Mouth of Madness, and especially because of the like Alan Wake comparisons.
Oh yeah.
So I gotta do that this spooky season. Also because it's on the spooky movie club list, and I still just haven't watched it.
I didn't realize you had. That's honestly been one of all of the first watches for this club, like the club. That's been one of my favorites. That's been a standout.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to watch it soon.
Turns out John Carpenter was great.
What'd you say?
I said, turns out John Carpenter was great.
Yeah, who would have thunk? Anywho, I barely watched anything because one, just really busy, but also the times where I've had time to watch stuff, I've been watching football. Because I was like, you know what I'm gonna do this year? I'm gonna watch more sports. So
heck yeah,
I watched. Let me think. I watched the NFL kickoff. I watched the. Was it? Who was it? Chiefs and Bills game. There's one other game that I watched.
Bills played the Ravens.
Bills and the Ravens. That's what.
Not to be that guy.
No, it was Eagles and Chiefs, Bills and Ravens, and there was one other game I watched that I'm blanking on. But anyways, that was super fun, and so I spent a lot of my time doing that. But when I had time to watch a movie, I finally watched Friendship. I wish I could have seen that on the big screen. It feels like you're in a dream the entire time, and it's just really weird, and it's also really funny at times.
It's really nuts.
It's really nuts, man. Hey, there's a new Marvel coming out. I heard it's nuts.
I don't know what's going on right now.
It's the Tim Robinson movie that came
with
out
Paul
this year.
Rudd.
Oh,
it's fantastic. Yeah, I really loved it. It's weird and surreal. And it's got a lot of Tim Robinson isms. But it's also I've seen some people kind of compare it to his show, and I disagree. I don't think it is on like the extreme levels of that. There's far less screaming than the show.
Oh, there's a lot of screaming in Friendship.
I mean, there is, but like it just does. To me, it doesn't feel like his show.
When they're standing in the swamp and he just looks down and the camera pans out and he's like sinking and he's like, ah! Ah! I don't know. I got a lot of the show vibes.
I don't know. To me, like, I mean, I can see the comparisons. It just feels a little bit more muted than the show, in my opinion. But like, that's also, I feel like, because the show is like 20-minute episodes, so it's just constant chaos. This doesn't really feel the same way. I watched it with my girlfriend and my sister, and my sister said that it felt like the movie was like 11 hours long. In a complimentary way. It's just like it had like this really weird effect where it felt like you were having this fever dream and it just wasn't ending. So yeah, it was a really fun time. Wish I could have seen it on the big screen though.
I saw it on the big screen with an audience that had no idea what to make of it.
Yeah, I feel like that would probably be most people seeing it. But yeah, definitely would have been a fun theater experience. And then I also have been watching. I think I may have talked about this last week, but I've been back on my Star Trek: The Original Series watch. And I just finished I Mud in season 2. What an episode! What a character!
The goofiness of that episode is extraordinary.
It's amazing. It's like so goofy that it kind of works though. So definitely enjoyed it a lot more than Mud's appearance in season 1.
Wasn't there like a really cool Star Trek podcast that was doing something a while back? Or
there was, and I'd love for it to return.
Yeah,
it would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was you guys.
Yeah. In a long time ago,
Live
a long
short
time
of
ago.
banter.
Yeah, exactly. It'll happen someday soon,
Yeah.
hopefully. Anyways, let's jump into the movie. So, Michael, take it away. You're leading this conversation tonight.
Oh man. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit different because the last couple of weeks, Drew and James, you both have had I feel like you guys have had more of a working knowledge of the movie that we watched, because those were movies y'all had seen like a bunch of times already, and they were movies very close to your heart that you've watched a bunch of times. This one for me was a movie that I did pick, but it's not one that I picked because I grew up with it. It's actually one that I just have watched within the last couple of years, and I've only seen it a few times. And so I don't have a huge well of knowledge to pull from. So it's going to be a lot more like I'm not going to be like, I don't know. I do feel like I'm going to be, going off of y'all's points a good bit, because I don't have a ton of just working knowledge of the movie in general. But I just wanted to preface by saying that, but I'm so excited to talk about The Last of the Mohicans tonight with Daniel Day-Lewis and Madeline Stowe headlining the incredible cast. I first heard about this movie from my old youth pastor. Actually, he really was just a music guy at first. He was not my youth pastor at the time. He was my worship leader, and he showed me this score, and I had no idea of the context or anything, but it was the main theme, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is incredible! I will watch this movie one day." Fast forward like 15 years, I finally did watch the movie, and it's as epic as the score. So I've been really excited to dive into this, because not only is it great, I do feel like it's time for us to dive into a Michael Mann film on this podcast. I feel like it was bound to happen, either this or Heat, and I just chose this because the score has been getting stuck in my head over the last few weeks. So and I knew that James hadn't seen this movie, so I'm extremely eager to hear the thoughts from him. So let's just start there. I want to get general thoughts on the movie, and then we'll kind of go from there. James,
General thoughts.
Thank you. Someone had to do it. James, what did you think of The Last of the Mohicans?
I thought it was great. It reminded me. I kind of knew it was going to be this going into it, but it reminded me of a kind of movie that doesn't really get made super often anymore, which is just that really kind of muscular historical epic, the kind that your dad likes and you like, and just this is the Patriot. Although like I like the Patriot.
Saving Private Ryan, the best movie ever. It's great.
But I don't know, this kind of historical action drama.
Totally.
And so that's just an itch that when well done, like I love it when that itch is scratched, and you get the feel for that like early on with the score set to the mountains and everything. Also, a touch that I loved about the opening was it opens with the year, the context, and it's got that yellow font, and in the same font that says 20th Century Fox presents.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, I don't know, having that prefaced with like the movie's already started, we're gearing up, we're giving you info. There's something about then leading into the 20th Century Fox presents in that same font. You just get the feeling like they're proud to present it. Like they're like, we are proud to present The Last of the Mohicans. Like it feels like, I don't know. It feels like they're like, oh, this is going to be good, guys. We're happy to be presenting this. So, and then you get in the cool title reveal and the music over the mountains and everything. So, it's just really good stuff. Really great cinematography throughout. I know you're going to talk about the score a lot. That main theme is definitely going to be in my head.
There now.
Yeah. And I guess lastly, I'm also just prone to like movies from like covering this era because I'm like, I love the aesthetic of it. Like I love the aesthetic of like frontier, um, the red coats and the hats and the scrappiness of the, you know, of the settlers and
The Vigs. Vin will you
the and like just silhouettes. Like I just like good silhouettes and like the silhouettes of like the Native Americans with the like it's just like this is just everything just looks cool. Everybody looks so cool. So it's just it's a cool looking era. So
yeah,
I really I thought like this I would like another movie like this, please.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Seriously, we need more movies like this, and I feel like every now and then we'll get, you know, a movie kind of in a similar vein, but not necessarily in the same, like, you know, muscular, like masculine historical action drama.
Gladiator 2 shows up and it's not good.
I still haven't seen it.
I haven't either. I just know it's not good.
It's not bad. It's fine. It's fine. It's competent.
I've heard it's competent soullessness.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Ridley Scott nowadays. Honestly, unfortunately.
Sadly.
Yeah.
But this genre is supposed to have that chest.
I know.
It, you know, that oomph, that spirit.
Yeah. And that movie definitely has this. I think in my first like Letterboxd review that I did for this, I was like the closest. I know they're like different still, but like the closest like vibes in terms of like scale and like just the way that they're like telling these stories. It kind of reminds me of you know, like we get the Dunes every now and then, we get the Oppenheimers every now and then, we get the Killers of the Flower Moon every now and then. These
movie's great.
Yeah, it really is. But we don't get those enough, and particularly we don't get this exact kind of vibe in a movie anymore, which is a shame because they're so freaking entertaining. And yeah, you can make all the jokes you want about them being like dad movies and stuff, but I mean, there's a reason why those movies are loved. There's a reason why this, Gladiator, and so on. It's because they're good movies. They're fun. And despite them being fun, there's also like a little bit more there to like chew on. It's not just like, oh, it's epic action, but you know, there's drama that's like grounding everything. And I think that's what this does really well for me. But yeah, the opening to this, I texted you guys in the group chat, but I was like, man, I love how it has no dialogue. You get the awesome score. You see the mountains. You see Daniel Day-Lewis sprinting through the forest. And then before there's any dialogue, someone gets shot. And it's just, it's such a vibe. And then...
Well, the deer gets shot.
Yeah, in my mind, I was thinking of like one of the action sequences a little bit later. Yeah, that
was Bambi's mom. Actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say. But yeah, I watched this for the first time last year because I think was it last year or the year before? I can't remember.
It was whatever year
Ferrari
came out because it was 2 years ago, I think, because we were both watching Michael Mann movies at the same time.
Yeah, we were.
I did a Mann double feature. I did Heat and Last of the Mohicans in one night, and that's awesome. Amazing. It was a great night.
Yeah. But I went through a lot of Michael Mann's filmography, and I had a wonderful time watching this and rewatching it for the pod tonight. I love this movie. Score's fantastic. You got Daniel Day-Lewis with his luscious locks. And there's a lot of like unknown actors in this. There's a lot of actors who haven't been in a lot of like big movies in like the last like 15, 20 years. But there's a lot of those actors in this are really good. And that's another thing that I feel like we don't get like super often anymore, is like this mid-budget kind of, movie where we get a few lead actors who are, they have like a name to themselves, and then a bunch of other actors who, like, you don't really know about that much. And then this movie looks fantastic. We talked about it already in our group chat and stuff, but like there's so many shots that look like a painting. But it also has like a very classic Hollywood kind of vibe to it. It reminds me a lot of stuff like Lawrence of Arabia, where you get these sweeping landscape shots, the characters like just kind of looking like ants in the foreground and stuff. It just feels very grand and epic to me.
Yeah, there's a very classical look to the way it's shot, where it's not going for like, what if we put the camera over here and we just kind of did it, like it's like, nah, we're gonna go the way great movies have looked. And I don't like, not in like a derivative like negative way, just in the way of like, this is the way you just, the platonic ideal of this kind of movie,
Yeah.
And then it does like these little flares for you, like I feel like anytime it does a really a close up of Daniel Day-Lewis shooting his musket, and it like something about the sound design mixed with just the way that the camera works when the shot happens, there's something about that. It's like, oh, that was cool. That was saucy. I like that. But it's not like, it's not over the top. It's just a little bit different. And so there's like, yes, it is. I agree. It's got this like classical, almost traditional feel to it. But at the same time, Michael Mann does some things that are like, oh, but no, he's got the sauce too. And
it takes the sauce to do the tradition.
It does,
right?
but like original, like thought, like original ideas
Yeah.
that are like, okay, I'm doing this, but I want to do this little thing. I want to do that little thing. It's like a great pop musician that is just like, he's playing the part that everyone knows and it's the right thing. And then every now and then he throws in a little thing that's like, oh, that was awesome. Just like, oh, that guy can play. That's kind of like this. But yeah, I think the opening like 5 minutes is one of my favorite openings ever. Like of all time. I really think that, between the text with the black background and then the and then leading into the giant landscape shot with the beautiful score that we're going to mention over and over tonight. And then them running through the woods. Honestly, I said this earlier in our chat. I don't even think Tom Cruise looks this cool when he runs. Daniel Day-Lewis in this movie, there's something about the way that he runs in this movie. He just looks so freaking cool. And the way the woods look as they're running through it, it's like, it's so gorgeous. And so it's like the way that the music works behind it. This is important. Whatever they're doing is important. And even down to them, like they're just hunting for dinner. And it is that it's important. And I love so much. Like the movie starts with these, father and son, an adopted son. And they kill their dinner. And I think it was the dad that says something like, basically, we're sorry we had to kill you. Like, just basically respecting, like giving the respect to the deer that they just killed, like treating it like it's very important. It's not just a killing. This is like, we have to eat. But there's something, I'm trying to think of the word there, like reverent. Yes, thank you. There's a reverence to what they're doing. They're not just killing for sport, obviously, but they're taking it very seriously. Anytime they have to kill, they take it very seriously. And the movie just opening with all of that, it's I don't know, it for me is like it's one of my favorites ever. I just love it.
Sometimes you just want to run through the woods with the boys shooting stuff with muskets, man.
Right.
Exactly.
That's right.
I will say though, running through the woods in this is definitely, I don't think it holds a candle to how great the running through the woods is in Obi-Wan.
I knew you were doing that.
I had that one primed up for that, dude. I was waiting.
Why do you have to say words?
Dude, I'm telling you, doesn't hold a candle to that.
I don't know why, but I thought you were going to say Twilight, and I don't know why.
No, yeah, sadly, this doesn't have the amazing baseball sequence of Twilight.
What this was missing was Daniel Day-Lewis running after the deer, trying to get it, but holding his arms out like I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you.
Man. Oh, no. I think I would have loved the intro even more if you did that.
Oh gosh, oh Lord.
Yeah. One other thing I was gonna say, the look of this film, it doesn't look like a 90s movie at all to me, because of the way it's shot, going for like this very like traditional look. It gives it such a timeless look to me. Like even today, by today's standards, I'm like, dang, this looks really good. But it doesn't look like a 90s film at all to me. I feel like a lot of 90s movies went for like the very like, like hyper stylized kind of lighting styles. You get like the Tony Scott kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I felt like that was kind of the norm for a lot of big movies in the 90s. So it was just kind of refreshing to see like, oh, this is what 90s movies can look like sometimes.
See, to me, it looked like a 90s movie in a complimentary sense, because I'm thinking of the way the 90s got that earnest kind of action, like the Patriot, Air Force One, Gladiator,
Braveheart,
that kind of look of, it's not crazy flashy and doing everything. It's just, we're gonna get the camera right here, we're gonna put it where it should be, we're gonna light it like it should, it's gonna look like it should.
Yeah. We're gonna go to the woods and
we're gonna go to locations and make a pretty looking movie.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. It does. It does remind me of, you just mentioned a couple of great ones. But like I thought of not only like Braveheart, but another one that I have in my mind that's not necessarily the greatest movie ever, but it gives me similar feels with the landscape. But it's why do I keep wanting to say a different title? That's not what it is. It's a Tom Cruise movie, Far and Away. Far and Away.
This is the second episode in a row you've mentioned.
I think we need to cover Far and Away. Ron Howard,
and probably like the third or fourth time total it's been brought up.
It's a sneaky movie that like it's stuck in my brain from my childhood, and it does kind of feel it does have those big sweeping landscape shots, early America and all that stuff. It definitely feels like the same era. It was made in the same era. And but Tom Cruise doing an Irish accent is great. But no, I agree. I think there's something timeless about this movie. And I think that's one reason why it's still so great. And it also looks because it went for such a I don't know, like y'all said, like a classical look. I think that it honestly looks like it could have come out even before the 90s in a lot of ways, but in a good way. And so, oh man, there is something just about this movie too. I like that it's not good, the Americans, the settling, they're good, and the Native Americans are the bad people. Like there's a lot of like, they talk about the different tribes of the Native Americans and who they're aligned with. And honestly, there's a lot of that I don't even have straight in my head, from a historical standpoint, But like, you know, in this movie, the villains just so happen to be aligned with France, who is actually later our allies.
I was about to say,
So,
there's an irony hanging over
yeah,
the whole movie where you're
yeah,
like, where are
and
you,
to the point,
Lafayette?
right? There's a couple of times where I had to remind myself, like, wait, this is a little tricky. This is a little confusing.
I see redcoats and I'm like, ah.
Yeah, but we're like rooting for these British people here. But then you do have, you know, in a way, you know, the Monroe, I can't remember, General Monroe or whatever. The I mean, he's an antagonist too. So it's like you do have a lot of layers here. And part of what makes this movie so great is, to me, I think yes, obviously Daniel Day-Lewis is the headline here. He's amazing. But I think Cora is kind of the heart of this movie. I think like her story and her character development from and that's Madeline Stowe's character. But her, you know, she starts the movie very much a you know, she had preconceived notions of how things would be over here and how they would be treated and how they would treat other people. Her sister was like, have you seen any red people yet? Or like, so I was like, oh God. But like, and then you had that great conversation in the middle of the movie where she was like, it was her and Daniel Day-Lewis talking, and you know, she said, it's not as I imagined it would be, thinking of it in Boston and in London. And Hawkeye, I'm going to start saying that instead of Daniel Day-Lewis, but Hawkeye said, sorry to disappoint you. And Cora said, no, on the contrary, it is more deeply stirring to my blood than any imagining could have possibly have been. And then throughout the movie, you see her standing up to her father and her, you know, and then the other British man who was actually like trying to have her hand in marriage, like standing up to them because she has learned, like, no, people don't need us over here. They're working like they make their own way over here. We're just messing things up. And I think that her learning that, and then honestly, I just love the love story too. There's something about her character throughout the movie and her progression. It really, to me, is like the standout thing about this movie, other than the things we've talked about with cinematography and Daniel Day-Lewis and music. But what do y'all think about initial thoughts on her character and that journey?
Before we do that, I just wanted to also like chime in on just like the politics of this movie, because I feel like there's like a lot more nuance in the way that we approach this, because you've got antagonists from like every faction in this, basically.
Sure.
And so you kind of see like all, in a way, you get like a glimpse of all of the sides in this war, and just kind of seeing how bloody it is. Like, you know, everyone's got blood on their hands in some capacity. Some, you know, maybe worse than others. You may perceive, like, you know, like the redcoats as the worst and stuff like that. But I like how the movie approaches it. It's like, you know, they've done some bad things. They've done some bad things. They've done some bad things. And, you know, you got Daniel Day-Lewis just kind of in the middle of that. And so I really like that angle to it. It also does a good job of, you know, not doing like the stereotypical like white savior kind of story. And Daniel Day-Lewis's character, he was, you know, adopted by Native Americans, but it's not like it's not like a story of like liberation, I guess. And so I just think like it kind of veers away from like a lot of stereotypes that you get with like normally with a film like this or a story like this. So I really like that angle to it. And yeah, I also like really love the romance angle in this movie. One of the things that I wanted to mention earlier that I had forgotten about was with this being like, the masculine war drama. I feel like a lot of those we don't get romance at the center of that in the way that this one does. To me, like the romance feels I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. Honestly, like the romance also has like a very classical feel to it. It kind of like it's not Shakespearean. That's not like the right way to put it, but it's like, when I look at the romance in this movie, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm reading like, or like I'm watching like a classic love story in that way. So there's something about that I really like.
Well, yeah, because I feel like a lot of times in these movies that y'all are mentioning, the big muscle dad movies, a lot of times those are, Gladiator. Well, his spoiler alert, his family's dead.
Braveheart's got that love story,
I can't remember Braveheart, to be honest. It's been
I don't remember
very long time, but I do feel like there's a lot of them that stem with like, okay, this is a revenge tour kind of a thing. Like there's a revenge element to it, and then that kind of thing. So this one was cool because obviously there's a lot of loss, but also at the heart of it is like he's fighting for his love who is still alive, and that's cool. Like that is a refreshing thing to have in one of these types of movies.
Yeah, I agree.
To the first point y'all discussed earlier, just about the setting and the factions and politics and stuff. I don't have a lot to add. Just that was one thing that I did want to compliment about the movie was that one, just that sense of irony that you kind of feel with like, wait, hold on, things are about to shift, in short order in these people's lifetimes, and or most of their lifetimes. And I read a book about King Philip's War earlier this year, and like the thing that sticks out in that you get here too is just the tragedy of the fact that there's not there really isn't that like cut and dry way of looking at it, where you've got some of the white people who are finding themselves in closer community with the tribes that they're living closer to, and then you've got certain of the tribes finding themselves closer to the settlers than the other tribes that they're warning against. And there's the sense that there's so much mingling, and obviously there's a lot of hostility, but there's also a lot of factional hostility within there. And so there's just this kind of tenuous piece that you're just kind of rooting could last the whole time. And then just things end up exploding, and then you've got certain tribes with the English and certain tribes with the French, and then obviously the French against the English, and it's like, just, it's not even like there's a lot of these huge moral reasons why every single person is where they are. It just becomes like geographical, where I guess I'm fighting this person because I'm over here and we were comfortable. You just watch so much like needless death as it happens, just because of who's allied with who at what point in time and where. And it's a really sad time. And I like that the movie kind of, by necessity, it has to, like, we just know for a fact that certain tribes were with the French, certain tribes were with England. So just to be accurate, obviously that had to be a thing. But by merit of being there, I was like, yeah, it's not like watching a World War II movie, where you're watching the Allied soldiers, fight against Nazi Germany. It's a lot more, not a lot more tragic in the sense of,
right.
It wasn't tragic, but more tragic in the sense of like, I really wish that these people weren't shooting each other.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, One thing that I also really like with that aspect is we learned that the French and the Native Americans that were with them were like burning these villages and farms and stuff. So like they're doing that, but then on the flip side, the British are just like, that's not my problem. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And so like
we're trying to make this Britain. Like
exactly. So
it's everywhere like, Britain.
It's like everywhere you look, there's just you're like, really?
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't know.
And honestly, I also think one of my favorite characters and performances is I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but Wes Studi as Magua, the villain.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because I also like that this movie doesn't just also try to, I don't know, do the modern white overcorrect of and start doing the noble savage stereotype, of like, oh, this, we are being respectful because we've created a stock character who is like this kind of unfeeling Native American character whose only quality is we're not writing interesting character flaws, because you see that a lot, and it leaves, unfortunately, a lot of Native American characters not super compelling just on the page.
Yeah.
And so I also like that, you've got his adopted father and not adopted brother as compelling characters, and then on the opposite end you've got a really compelling, like, bloodthirsty villain too. And so to me it allows its Native American characters to just be fellow characters as opposed to being stereotypes.
That's so good. Yeah, and I was actually about to get to him because he's such a great character, because like you were saying, but there is the side of things where, yes, he's aligned with the French, and there's the nuances that go along with that and all that. But then at the end of the day, he wants to kill these girls' dad and kill them in front of him.
He's Benicio del Toro from Sicario.
Yeah. He wants to, and he quite literally wants to tear out his heart and eat it. Like, and not, and that is, we get at least part of that in visual. So and so that it is very while yes, nuanced in a lot of ways, we have a clear villain in this movie. This is not a movie where it's like, well, the circumstances are the villains. I mean, while in some ways they are, he's the villain in this movie, and we are trying to rescue the girls from him and all that stuff at the end of the movie. And we have a clear objective, and I think that he's compelling. He's so compelling in that, like, yes, he is a bloodthirsty revenge, just completely after revenge kind of villain, but he's also like, this, what does he call him, gray hair or gray? Yeah, I think gray hair. Gray hair killed, gray hair took my family from me, and all this stuff. There's a whole backstory there, and it's very interesting and very compelling. I think, again, you mentioned the actor himself. I think he played him perfectly.
Yeah, his performance is amazing.
So good.
He's got such a presence to him. He plays the counter. Yeah, he is terrifying, and like when he's in a scene, he like commands the scene. He plays opposite Christian Bale in Hostiles, and he's phenomenal in that as well.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, really, really good, and he's really, really good in it.
I love his introduction in that scene. So where the redcoats are talking to the potential militia, American militia, and he steps out of the shadow and is like,
that scene is so well lit, dude.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Oh yeah, lighting's a thing.
And it felt like one of those things where it's really going for that look, like there's no indoor lighting. You leave a door open or you light a candle kind of thing, and there's just really cool shadow stuff.
And I think they do that with this movie in general. That I was noting, like there's a couple of scenes in particular that I was like watching, and I was watching during the day too, so it's not helping, but like I was watching a couple of night scenes. I had a hard time fully telling everything that's going on. At the same time, I think it was lit perfectly because like he uses moonlight and firelight and then like smoke against the moonlight and stuff like that to make this incredible atmosphere, but just enough to where we can see just enough to feel how they feel in the dark. We can see what we need to see, you know, and I like that. I think it's not overlit in any way. In fact, it leans the other way. But I really appreciate it. And there's a lot of times, like some of the night scenes, like the night battle scenes and stuff with the smoke everywhere, freaking gorgeous and awesome looking.
All of the like fights with the fort are incredible.
Yeah.
That the establishing shot of that where she's clearly not even fully aware of like what is happening, like what is this this hell in front of me. Just that image of like that little island looking like just with the smoke and the explosions, and we're just far enough away where we can be like, it's almost like fireworks, you know, like it's not fully discernible what's happening. We just hear the sound kind of echo after the fact and the smoke rise up. And that shot, it reminded me of Apocalypse Now when they're on the river rowing up to like the furthest part of the outpost, and you've got all the lights and sparks flickering, and you're getting closer and closer to try to be able to discern what is this. And man knew that it looked great because we get like a 5-minute like battle sequence after, like when we finally zoom in on the action to figure out what's going on. It's just, you know, a bunch of images from either side, you know, guys running through the trenches, guys loading their cannons at the top, you know, little brief beats here and there of this guy goes to do this and then gets shot, this guy's up there doing, like, it's just that battle just kind of plays out for a while. You know, he's like, this set is massive, we've got like, you know, I don't know how many extras here. We've got this whole set is aligned with explosives. This is an expensive thing, so we're gonna shoot the crap out of it.
Yeah. Half their budget went into it,
probably,
or more.
But
it's crazy too because they literally. I was watching the bonus. There's a good 30 to 45 minute bonus like behind the scenes documentary on the movie, and they went and found it's like he said, you know, it's different now than it used to be, or you know, now we can look on the GPS and see find a good spot, and we can easily find a way to get to it. But they flew a helicopter and they just found a spot that looked good, and then they had to figure out how to get there and like drive things to there and build this set out there. And it's far, and they purposely chose for it to be away from civilization, so you wouldn't see planes, there wouldn't be cars, and anything like that. It is out there, and so they built this big set out there for real, and you feel the weight of every time that wall explodes. You feel oh my gosh, one of my favorite things about this movie is how much you just like feel it in your bones when they shoot a cannon or they shoot a gun. It just like it rattles you, and it's just it's such the sound design for this movie, but in particular these like battle sequences.
I love seeing like all the sparks fly out of the musket. It's so good.
Muskets look cool, man.
The muskets are so cool in this. It's and they do that like close up on the musket when he shoots it multiple times. I'm just like,
it's like the coolest shot in
the
the movie every time.
The scene of them protecting the courier is so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah. All the shots of just looking down that alley at them with their guns. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love this. I love this whole sequence so much because there's a lot here. there's a lot of the politics that we discussed earlier with, the British are, they had made a deal with the militia that if their families were, if news reached them that their families had been attacked or anything like that, they could go defend their homes and all that stuff. And they were not allowing them to leave. And basically because, well, that's not our first order of business. Our order is to make this a colony of England. And so nobody's leaving here, and anybody who does is guilty of sedition. And so you have that element all made, all these orders are given by Cora's father. So that's interesting. And it leads to some of the best drama to me in the movie. And I really, really, James, you sent the picture earlier of you're like, this looks like a painting. Yeah. That scene where Daniel Day-Lewis comes head to head with I don't know if he's a general or whatever his character is, major. No, it wouldn't be a major, but yeah, the Cora's father, Monroe, and then Duncan, who we haven't mentioned by name yet, the major, head to head with, basically you're seeing these worldviews going up against each other in this scene, and it's so good. And I have a particular part in mind that I just love so much, where he goes, I'm trying to remember the exact line. I should have written it down, but Duncan is like, basically like, I will beat you in the streets or whatever. I will. And Daniel Day-Lewis just looks at him and goes, you and I are going to have a serious disagreement or something like that.
Yeah.
And the way that he delivers that line, I got chills. I was just like, you don't mess with, I'm not going to mess with you. He's just, his delivery there. It's just so good. But I love the drama there. The tension in that scene is so good. But any thoughts on the, that general scene, or just the scenes around it within this battle area?
I think that scene in particular has a lot of great dialogue. I really love, because I'm pretty sure it's right after Daniel Day-Lewis like leaves the room. Then it's just the father, the guy that nobody likes, and Cora in the room together. And or maybe it's right before he steps in, I can't remember, but he's like, well, the only reason why you care about him and this is because you're infatuated with him now. But like the way he delivers the line, I think is great. And just that whole sequence, I don't know, that's one of my like favorites, just in terms of like the drama that we get here.
Yeah.
I feel like of all that drama, the father is the one who kind of comes out the most interesting to me, in terms of like, he gets the lines that kind of have that clear villain reading of like, people who leave are going to get shot. I am clearly the obstacle. And yet whenever we get to the point of like the terms of surrender, you see the shot of him looking out at everybody, all the lives that would end were he to not surrender. And he has that line where it says, death and honor are thought to be the same, but today I have learned that sometimes they are not. And like, even after being an obstacle, we still mourn his death with Cora. So that's another example of just feeling like there's, it's, everybody is kind of just within a role, that they're that it's like, with where I am at this point in this time at this place, I'm not supposed to let anybody leave. You've got your duty. And they feel my family's home is my duty above all else. Screw king and country,
Yeah.
So I appreciated that about it as well.
Yeah, and see, I just love like seeing them like come to terms, like the French and the British come to terms.
I really like the French actor.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's good. Yeah,
He's really memorable to me.
yeah, he's got a great presence.
He looks like what's his name? Rupert, the guy who plays he's in Kenobi as the Inquisitor. He's the
oh
yeah.
yeah. I'm blanking on his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Rupert something. Rupert Fiend. Rupert Friend.
Yeah,
Not Fiend.
Rupert Friend. Yeah,
Rupert Friend. He kind of gave
great
me,
friend of the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does kind of look like him. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this stuff is great. Obviously, this is also where the romance really heats up too.
Can I give my controversial opinion?
Let's go.
Okay. So some of the romance and the character drama is what on the first viewing, I'll caveat with that, I've only watched this once, is part of what didn't bring this movie up higher for me. I didn't feel a lot for their romance because I didn't feel that it was built on a lot. And I know that sounds funny because its foundation is he saved her life. What else could it? But you also had Duncan. Literally, like, a thing that I appreciated about him was that even though he occupied an antagonistic role at times and is very much we root against him or side against him on various things. They don't go like because we don't like him and his character, he's a coward. Like, during that initial raid, when he's the only guy left, he draws his sword and he is in front of them. Like, he's in front of the girls ready to die. So, but in that way, like, he's also like saved her life. So it felt a bit to me like DDL shows up and he's like cool looking guy, long hair, very mysterious. Oh, he was raised by Native Americans. This guy is like, ooh, he's got some interesting stuff. But it just kind of feels like, and now I am in love with him. And I mean, they both look like people you fall in love with. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But it did just kind of, I think part of, and this is kind of why I want to rewatch it, is I was struggling to figure out how much of it is just like, well, this is just traditional storytelling. This is just the way you do it, versus is this so traditional that it starts to feel a little cliche. Like with Duncan, there's things about him that I like, and I really like the performance. Mm-hmm. But I had the feeling that I had with Avatar 1, whenever I forget his name, but like the antagonistic Na'vi who ends up dying on being a bro to the main guy and dying in the last battle. I remember seeing him on screen the first time in the movie and being like, I know it's going to happen to you. And I had that same feeling with Duncan, where I'm like, you are going to be antagonistic, and we're going to be at odds a lot of the time, and it's going to have ups and downs. You're going to redeem yourself at the end, and you will die. And all of that kind of happened. And so there were aspects of that to the way the character stuff played out, where, and again, it's like we see it a lot because there's a reason we do it a lot. So it's like, maybe it is just traditional, and the fact that I'm like, I feel like I know it's going to happen is more of a feature and not a bug. But I don't know. I guess I didn't really feel the emotion in some of this, like with the love story as well, of like, it just feels like I almost felt like him, where I was like, you're just doing this because he's hot.
Hey, that's part of it, bro.
It is part of it. Hey, it is part of it.
So,
but like, there's just, aside from, I guess, just the last thing, like, they had that conversation whenever they're lying on the ground and wait for the other tribe to come and pass by, and that was a good scene. But even that kind of felt like yes, I'm from London, but I'm actually really into this, and I'm not afraid to be out in the wild. I'm actually liking this, and now we're gonna fall in love out here. And it felt like that was one of the few real conversations that they ever had with each other. So it felt like they just kind of, the movie kind of told us with the way they looked at each other that like they're in love, and so that's how you're supposed to interpret all their scenes after this. So like whenever they were like, "We know why you're staying behind," and he's like, I thought he was gonna try to deny it, but if he was just like, "Yeah, you know I was staying behind." uh,
She looks a lot better than you.
yeah, which is a great line, to be fair.
Yeah, it's great.
But I was just like, I still don't know that y'all, outside of that one time y'all sat down out there, like I'm not feeling like, I don't know. I was more invested in the other love story with the sister and the adopted brother, because I was like, ooh, this kind of quiet background love story is like weirdly moving to me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Especially
so tragic, man.
Yeah.
Oh
freaking wrecks me with the end.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually, so I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think that it does kind of just like jump into the romance without like having a lot of build up there. And I also think for me too, like there's not nearly as much emotional weight to it as I like to get, like to have to be like super invested to it. But I think because it kind of fits within that, like this is just something that we do and it works, and to me it's not bad. So like I enjoy it, and I think it also goes with what I was saying earlier, where like these kind of movies you don't get like, at least from this era, you don't get that like kind of aspect a lot.
Do you need to rewatch The Patriot? That love story with Heath Ledger and his girl is just
okay. Actually, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I love them.
but yeah, I don't know. So like it works for me in that way, but I think it definitely, even on my rewatch, I'm like, man, I feel like there should be just a little bit more here, even though like there's like aspects of the romance that I really like. The scene that kind of kickstarts everything, where she's like, "What are you looking at?" He's like, "I'm looking at you," and the way that the camera lingers on him looking at her, there's just something about that that really works for me.
Same,
but
dude.
I
the back
like,
and forth, the stairs, it's good.
It's just, and I think a lot of that just is from their performances. Like you can feel the chemistry in the room, like in that scene. So I don't know, like, but I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. Like I kind of wish that we had a little bit more there. Even on my rewatch, I was like, man, I really like the romance angle that they're going with this. I want a little bit more.
I don't entirely disagree with y'all on that. I think they could have done more on the front end. I don't know, like so first of all, I think from the get-go, I don't feel like her and I know this, I don't know, maybe there's an element of like, well, obviously we know we know that Duncan is not going to end up with her. We know that because movies. But like there's, from the very beginning, that they show that scene of him, first of all, the scene of him riding in on the bridge. That shot on the bridge is so sick. But it opens with him and Cora like having lunch on this table out in the middle of a field. And even then I was like, that's weird. That doesn't fit. And almost like they don't fit. You know what I mean? Like just like a table in a field doesn't fit, they don't fit. And so like from the beginning, I never felt like they fit, even though, like you said, and even like Cora said, you have some admirable traits, but ultimately it's a no. I found, to me, I did not find that love story to be interesting enough. And I really liked him as a character in the end of the movie. I actually didn't find maybe I've not seen enough movies. I did not predict him like being the way he is in the end of the movie. So I loved that. But from the scene with their conversation with Daniel Day-Lewis and Cora in the woods, having that conversation, because it was right after his, basically, like, these people are essentially they're not his family, but they are close friends of his. They've all been murdered, and he leaves them behind. That she's like, why don't you want to give them a Christian burial, proper burial? These strangers, whatever. And he eventually tells her why, and it's like, so you did that to protect us. Wow. And from that moment and their conversation after that on, where she starts to really understand him, there's I don't know, there's something to me that I like, that the romance is born out of an understanding starting to form. Her connection to her transformation as a person is tied to this man, is tied, like, he's helping her see the world in a different way. And so I kind of like that the romance is birthed out of that. And so for the rest of the movie, just so much being driven by pure chemistry from that point on, it just kind of works, because the setup to me was fine. Could it have been better? Sure. But I think that the foundation of her understanding there being birthed out of him, for me, was enough. And then obviously, like, he also had an understand, like, his father taught him, beware of people like this, and he thought that she was that way, and then turns out, he found out really quickly that she's different. And I like two people flipping on that, being part of being like the key romance of the movie. And then, yes, I am a sucker for, a lot of people are like, Titanic is so boring for the first half, but then when it gets really good, when it's an amazing disaster movie, I'm like, no, give me all that sappy love stuff at the beginning. I love it. Love it. I think it's so good. And so, yes, I'm a sucker for that. So that probably is a part of that being enough for me as far as this love story goes. So it works for me in this movie. And by the way, I had mentioned earlier in our chat, Siskel and Ebert, I really disagree with the point they had about this movie, and it's exactly what James is saying.
Oh no.
They both thought the love story was phoned in and cheesy and didn't work. Not that you said it was phoned in or cheesy, but they said cheesy, and that it made the movie lesser. And so I was like, oh man, I can't wait to bring this up on the pod and see where everybody lands on it. And so that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be as negative as that, but yeah, it's just I didn't really.
They do both like it. Just so they like the movie, but
okay, yeah. Because I just felt that, like, the most emotional I felt was, again, to kind of turn it over to Alice and I forget the brother's name.
I have it here. I wrote down names because I knew I'd forget. Uncas.
Oh yes,
yeah.
He's got like no lines, but
he says so much with his eyes.
Yeah, like I just feel like, because it was kind of different, of like just kind of telling a love story with no shared dialogue at any point in time is just such a different thing. But like, what they're communicating the first time he sees her, and there's a part where he has her and he's holding her, and the protection she feels, it's very clear he's got affection for her, and whenever she's the one being taken off, he's the guy who, like, it's just, you've got this kind of very, very traditional, like this is the love story kind of thing happening in the foreground, and the background, I'm like, I hope they wind up together the whole time. And so when that all happened, I was like, oh man, these were the characters that I just weirdly felt like, I felt just like the younger sister was the most tragic character to me because of her youth and ignorance, and I don't mean that in like as a pejorative or negative or anything, just ignorance in terms of like the ignorance that comes with innocence of like I don't know I don't know where I'm at. I'm in this big dress out in the woods running around, like I don't and so for all of this to happen and for her to kind of be in on the love story that's developing as well, like she knows what's going on as well, and then to just see him hacked up in front of her like that, and all innocence just kind of gone in that moment and just throwing herself off, like that was the emotion that got me the most in the movie. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is tragic.
Honestly, me too. That part, I was literally watching this movie today by myself on my couch, and I was like like I felt so tense and like almost like I was watching, but almost like I wasn't covering my face, but I felt like I could have like I was I've only seen the movie twice before today, but I did not remember who lived and died at the end. So I felt like I remembered it was either Uncas or Alice that died. I did not remember both of them. So I was like, it was so brutal. And in my notes, I have the ending is brutal. Like it is so brutal. We lose Duncan and both of them within 5 minutes of each other. And it is tough. It's so tough. And by the way, I loved even the touch of Duncan, gosh, them showing him being burned alive and then
the mercy kill.
I thought that was a good touch. I really liked that. Oh, gosh, tough. How did y'all feel about just, less of a story thing here, but obviously we've talked about how great the musket stuff and cannons and the combat in that sense, but how did y'all feel about the close hand-to-hand combat stuff? Because it's really present in this movie, and I have some thoughts, but I want to hear y'all's first. Because I genuinely have no idea where y'all are going to go with this, but I thought this was an interesting movie with hand-to-hand combat because it's not swords. It feels, a lot of time hand-to-hand combat, it's like swords, but the tomahawk is a totally different thing, and it looks really different. And so it threw me off a bit. So I want to know how y'all feel about the close-up stuff.
So I think there's a lot of fantastic action sequences in this. And I think there's also a lot of really good hand-to-hand combat, or I don't know if hand-to-hand combat is the right way to put it, but like blunt weapons.
I'd call it hand-to-hand. They're all there. They're fighting.
They're not shooting each other. They are right there, with hand weapons.
I think that sometimes that's one of the areas where maybe it faults a bit because it is going for like a more traditional kind of filmmaking style, where like sometimes some of the hand-to-hand combat doesn't have nearly as much impact as I would expect. And I'd say like more so in the first half of the film. I think the second half of the film gets a lot more brutal and visceral, which is weird because
I agree.
When I pressed play on the movie, I was like, wait, this is rated R? I don't remember that. And so, like, and even like the first half of the movie, I'm like, this is not rated R. Like, there's no blood. There's like hardly any, like you don't really, except for there's one shot in like the first 30 minutes or so. I think it might be in the first action sequence where you see someone get scalped.
Yeah, they show a couple of scalpings. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah,
very brief and like in the background. But like outside of that, I'm like, dang, like there's people getting stabbed by like bayonets and stuff, and I'm not seeing that. So, I think like sometimes some of the hand-to-hand combat, like I don't know if like slow is the right word. It almost feels like you can see the choreography like in a way that like doesn't feel like supernatural, not supernatural, but supernatural. So, but I don't hate it because I think that there is like a little bit of charm to it in the way that like, okay, this does make it feel like a classic movie, but whenever it does go to the depths that it does, especially in the third act, you know, is it Magua? Whenever
Magua,
we get Magua's death, that
dude, when his bones protruding, man,
yeah,
that was.
I'm like, if we could have had that the rest of the movie, I think that it would have hit really hard for me.
Yeah, I don't know that I noticed it enough to really have a lot to say about it. I think the only times I noticed it a ton were for those standout moments, and less for there weren't really anything that stood out to me in terms of like, oh, that did not work. It was more of just when it did work, I was like, ooh, yeah, like whenever he smacks the guy's mouth, and we just hard cut to like the bloody, and then at the end, whenever he's running after Alice.
Mm-hmm.
And then Magua's death. I love that like dive roll he does before just hitting him right there. That last fight is good. And just in terms like the fighting style to me just is cool. Just like when you just carrying mohawks and go like that's inherently cool to me. Just in terms of like the visual appeal of a way of fighting. So overall, I would probably lean positive. But with I if you're gonna be R, then take all the liberties of being R. I think I probably I could have done with a little bit more because tomahawks are also like that. Just it will end just that era in general with bayonets and tomahawks and like it's such a brutal era where it's like you're not always dealing. Not everything. You're not making clean cuts on everything, Like there's a lot of just blunt blades and like really like nasty gashes and unclean cuts, and not everything.
I feel like the
severing all the way.
It's a really good job of like the brutality with tomahawks and like cannons and stuff like that. Like I still vividly remember
as cannonballs, dude.
As a kid watching The Patriot and then seeing the cannonball roll and knock the dude's legs off.
Oh
man.
That was a transformative moment for young me. I was like, what are they doing?
Traumatizing.
Yeah. Drew, actually, I think you honestly kind of put it into words what I was feeling, I think, really well, because I do think another scene that stands out to me that neither one of y'all have brought up was the ambush in that field where the woods is on both sides, and it's after after they had been let go from the fort, and where Magua catches up with them with all of his crew. And it's just an absolute. It's where the Colonel Monroe dies, and Magua pulls out his. Cuts out his heart.
He's gonna have a different rank every time we talk about him.
He is a colonel. I did look it up. He is a colonel. I looked it up because I was tired of saying whatever. But yeah, that scene to me works really, really well on that front. And it is brutal in a lot of ways. And so I do think there's a stylistic thing I had to get used to, because I am used to that close quarters combat being more sword based. I'm not used to as much with the tomahawk, where it's like part of the moves is like, the tomahawk, you can bring it down low and catch the leg and like flip them backward and, then get them on the ground. And it kind of looks a little more like movie action in that way, but I kind of love it for that reason. But once you get used to it, and I do think it does, Drew, I think you're spot on. I do feel like as the movie goes on, it does get more, it feels like a rated R movie, obviously by the end. But there was something about that initial sequence where the one where you said that like the one thing that stuck out was the scalping, which did stand out. Other than that, I did feel like it was pretty tame and almost slow. It felt like maybe like Star Wars action in the Book of Boba Fett, like the slow spin move kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it felt kind of like that, or like, like the prequels had amazing action, but there's sometimes the Jedi are like, okay, when they're written to die, they look really stupid and really, really slow. So that's it looked kind of like that at times, like it's like really, it does feel kind of slow action, but then it doesn't feel like that as the movie goes on. And maybe I'm just into it by then, but I do feel like it does get better in the later sequences. There's something about that first one. It's just not as good or something, but yeah, okay. So we pretty much align. I'm mostly positive. I did feel that in the first little bit, and I wondered if anyone else did.
Yeah.
But I do think in general, I like the action a lot, and I did end up really liking the tomahawks and how they were used.
Yeah. Also, while we're on the topic of action, dual wielding the muskets.
Oh,
that is one of the coolest things ever,
bro.
So freaking
He needed
cool.
to like dive sideways with muskets.
Yeah.
Honestly, has anyone ever been that cool? I don't think so.
No.
I was watching too Daniel Day-Lewis talking about, he's like, I read in the script that I was going to be running and reloading my musket at the same time, and I was like, that's impossible. So he had to learn. He actually was like, he got trained in the ways of like old school combat like that, and like how people used to hunt in that time period, with muskets and stuff like that. He got trained in that for the movie, and he talked about, he was just like, yeah, I didn't think that was possible, but he did it in the movie, and he looked baller doing it too. So cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see here. I'm not sure where else to go as far as just like, I mean, we've kind of touched on a lot of parts of the movie. Is there anything else that kind of that we haven't talked about, a standout part or a standout character that we like, or anything like that?
Just random scene that I had in mind where I think like the cinematography especially stands out is everything in the waterfall.
Oh, yes.
The lighting. One of the stills, or the thumbnail that I made for this, is one of the shots from that. But the like just perfectly blue lighting from the moonlight and the water, and then when you juxtapose that with the torches in the caves, just the bright orange against the blue, it looks so good. It's like the classic color palette, but it's like a natural version of that. It's not like, oh yeah, we're putting a blue light here and orange light there. I don't know, it just does something to my brain where I'm like, yeah, this is how movies need to look. So yeah, I really love just that whole scene there. Daniel Day-Lewis jump in slow motion through the waterfall is really cool too.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, I totally agree. I actually did have that in my notes tonight, and I forgot to bring it up. The particular moment was it was already cool. I mean, I think just going behind a waterfall is just a cool thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. Like, I think it's the coolest thing. I want to find a waterfall that I can really do that with, where it's like an actual cave back there.
Yeah.
And there's a treasure chest.
Even not even that. Like literally, I just want to hide back there. I just want to be there. It's just so cool. But like,
small girl.
So like, so even just that and having them hide there, the cinematography alone with that was cool. But then when you see the torches through the flame, like through the water, was like, oh man, he's just cooking now. He's just showing off. It was beautiful and threatening. Like, oh, the fire in the water, like the fire's coming for the water. And I don't know. It was a really, really well composed section, I guess. But I totally agree.
Yeah, for sure.
A couple things. One positive, one negative. I'll start the negative so I can end on the positive. Whenever in the initial fight, when it was only the two girls, the three guys who show up to rescue, and then Duncan, when it was only them surviving, I was like, this is fine because it's a movie. These are our cast of characters. And I don't like it when people are like, how come the main character just happens to be the first guy or the only guy to survive this thing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, it's because the movie is like omniscient. It knows who's going to survive to the end. So, of course, it's going to choose to focus on those people up until then. But it started to feel a little bit Hollywood adventure-y in a way that wasn't fully working for me whenever they were the only ones to make it out of like the second attack. Whenever you got like this whole line of like hundreds of redcoats and they're not even all completely together. But then as the battle happens, it's one of the kinds of battles that affords them the time to stand and find each other and hug as you hear like screams and gunshots, and then they happen to manage to all get together and be the only ones in the boat, and then they're off again, all of them. It started to feel a little bit like, okay, now you're aware, the movie is becoming too aware of its main characters in a way to me. So that, I don't know, there was something that felt a little there's the kind of the grand epic historical feel of it, and then this is feeling maybe a little bit adventure-y, just kind of like this one band of people that just happens to keep making it through everything. But to end on a positive, we'd already talked about
until the last bit.
Until the last bit, in which we're gonna have major losses to the party.
Major losses. It's like, don't worry, these people are gonna die. We just all want them to die at the same time.
Exactly. Which actually goes to my positive, which is though that there is something about like ending your action drama on cliffside that's just cool to me. Like, and not even just, oh, we do it because it's cool, but maybe like we do it because it's cool is the reason we started this. But I feel like especially a lot of Westerns end in like just shootouts up in the mountains, up in the rocks, up in the cliffs. So that, like when the guy is shot, you can see the body fall down the mountain. Like, it's just, it feels almost literary in terms of like we're figuratively and now literally reaching this escalation of now it's literally high drama of like where there's nowhere to run. We're up in the peaks, we're surrounded by the clouds, and it is just having all of the final confrontations happen up in the mountains where like when you die you fall down, like that's down the mountains to a definitive end. There's something I like whenever final confrontations take place in locations like that. It's just it's cool.
It's visually cool, but also like just in terms of like combat, like having like all of these like rocks and like trees and it like very uneven ground that they're fighting on, so it feels like it ups the stakes a ton. And also when because when his body falls down the mountain, it looks real.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't tell me that wasn't an actor like actually rolling off right there.
We'll remember you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I just love when movies are green, like when there's a
I've never
major.
seen so much green in my entire life.
I love that moment. I love when movies are like there's a significant portion of the film that takes place with a lot of trees around. I love Skyfall. Happens in like the third act is that in that cabin in not the woods, but there's a lot of greenery and mountains.
Yeah.
There's
No Time to Die has a really cool sequence in a forest.
I still haven't seen that. I love Endor on Return of the Jedi. All these things. I really love when movies have that feel just on a basic color level too. It just does it for me. But no, I agree. I really love that. I also love the ending shot with them looking out west, at the sunset. It's really beautiful, sad. They've all just lost someone, like multiple people they love, and then they're kind of looking. I like that they're looking toward the west at the sunset. The west kind of is like the unknown, and we know obviously a lot goes on in the west later in America, so there's a whole lot of there's a lot to come for them. So I just like there's a lot of symbolism there, but also just it looks freaking cool. It looks really beautiful as a final shot of the movie too. So I just feel like it just the way it ended was really nice after a really brutal 15 minutes before.
Yeah.
Let's see. But I don't know if I have any other major points. Major points. Look what I've done to you guys.
I've got a friend at church here who follows that religiously. if major anything is said,
I almost am incapable of not doing it.
Colonel.
But I do want to just one more time, obviously we can talk about just music in general in this movie, but I also really like that song. There's a song, and it's I can't remember if it has lyrics, but it definitely has a more vocal, like a Celtic vocal performance going, and it's in the middle of it. Like the ones that I think of are obviously the main theme, and then the one with the like the violin circulating like that. But then I think the other one that's really, really beautiful is the one with the Celtic vocal performance. I just wanted to bring that up because it's really, really pretty.
It is.
What I love when a movie that there's not a ton going on music wise in this movie. If you think about it, like the main theme is used for a lot of the music.
Yeah.
And it just kind of works. And then there's like a little music here and there for transitional stuff, but there's a lot of moments in the movie that don't have any music at all. And I love that so much. But I love when a movie can just get away with like a couple of sick themes and then just use those, and pick the right spots for them.
Yeah.
There's some movies that do that, and I think it's really cool when you can do that. I do a lot of times prefer when you have a lot of themes to go along with it, but we have a small group of main characters here, and it's a more simple, straightforward story. I'm cool with this. I really, really thought it was a cool choice, especially since the ones we have are so good.
I think even though it's a theme that you can hum, there's like so much happening in it, like musically. You have the violins going like, but then you have like the other strings coming in, and like it just never feels like super simple to me. And I think that's like part of the reason why the theme works so well, like being reused over and over again. And then you also have like slight variations of it. So like in the kissing scene, the track there sounds different than, you know, the theme in the opening of the film, or like the theme near the end of the film when you're in the action.
I think they did more than kissing. I'm just No, I agree though.
Did
but
Jim freeze?
Did he freeze? It looks like
Yeah.
James, if you are there, we can't hear any words you're saying. That's why I paused, because I thought he was going to say something.
I know. I
he wasn't saying it.
James, that's an amazing way to freeze up there.
If you can hear us, bark twice. Hopefully we get James back at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, he said his computer shut down. Crap.
Well,
that sucks.
We may just have to do the outro without him.
Let's see if we can get him back. We'll see if we can. You'll want to edit this out.
Yeah.
Please. I'm telling you, it works.
It does.
The theme does have a certain Hans Zimmer quality to it.
It really does.
It's like it's got the melody plus the emotion that Hans Zimmer always pulls from me.
Yeah. I freaking love Hans Zimmer.
He's all right, I guess. If you like that kind of thing. If you like good music. James is just AWOL. He's gone.
He said, I'm not even going to respond.
I don't even care about you guys. I want to go watch something else. Did your phone shut down too? There he is. Not on here. Hold up.
Holy. Copyright strike. Let's go.
Oh, right at the end.
So good. Jim said we can go ahead and
manual fade out. And we're back.
Jimmy Jim said we'll
so I don't want to end without him.
I know.
Sad. All right. I'll do the honors, I suppose, of at least getting you to where you end the episode.
All right.
So, okay, let's see. Well, it looks like we've lost James. So we're about to be done anyway. But Drew, I just wanted to, before we end, I wanted to get your ranking or your rating of the film. I know I know James gave it 4 stars, so we'll say that for him. So what do you give this film?
Yeah, I give it 4.5 stars. If James would have been here, I would have fought him on his 4-star rating. But he's not. So I give it 4.5 stars. Because, you know, small criticisms aside, I think that this goes above and beyond in all of the positives for me. And I think it's just, if I'm gonna stack this up with like other films that are similar to it, this feels just instantly more iconic to me. Whether it's location, uh, you know, some character work, some of the way it's filmed, the soundtrack. There's just so many elements working together where I'm like, I can't not just be like, this is a 4.5 star. And then on top of that, I think it's just super, super entertaining and endlessly rewatchable. Like doing this rewatch, like talking about it right now, I already kind of want to like rewatch it
Put
again.
it in
You know?
again. Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that works for me in this way. A really quick side note that I just thought about. I did watch the director's definitive cut.
Same.
And I know there's like another director's cut. I think it's like an extended cut. And then there's the theatrical cut.
This is confusing.
Yeah. So I would love to go back and, or at the very least, read up on what the differences are. But yeah, I love this movie.
I gotta say, I can't think of what any scenes in this movie that, like a theatrical cut, like I can't think of scenes that I could have used or could have done without.
Yeah.
I also can't think of anything other than maybe if there's an extended version that's actually longer, if they maybe did add some
more romance,
a little more with the romance at the beginning,
Yeah.
that could be good. I'm not saying it doesn't need that a little bit. So if they added a little bit of that could be good. But other than that, I thought the pacing and everything, I thought was pitch perfect.
Yeah, the pacing is fantastic in this.
So, yeah. I also gave it 4.5 stars. I think that, like you said, Drew, I think, everything, it's not like a perfect movie, but everything that the film does well, it does so well that like be above and beyond, that I can't help but I just love movies like this, and this is like the best of the movies like this. I just think it's elite. And I do genuinely, I do think that for me also, I can't take off for stuff like the characters like having plot armor and that kind of thing, because ultimately it didn't bother me at all, because they definitely don't all make it through in the end. I think if they all made it through in the end, I would have had an issue, but because they definitely, it's not a happy ending. Because of that, I can't take off for that. It really didn't bother me at all. I didn't even think about it till he said that. And even as he said it, I don't think I agree. I don't have that feeling.
Yeah, it didn't bother me at all either.
Yeah. And so, and also the love stuff. Like I think that's probably where the half star. I agree partially. Like I could have used a little more, but I also really love what we got, and their chemistry is so good that it kind of makes up for stuff. And also there's something about, I don't know, sometimes you're like, this is war time. This is like, traumatic experiences one after another, two hot people, like stuff just happens, man. You just fall in love. Emotions run high, So, like,
I mean, you're not even kidding though. That's where boomers came from.
That's not just a movie thing. That's real, man. Like that's real life. So I think that there's like even some realism there. Like it just kind of, whenever you have these tight experiences with someone, you do kind of just gravitate toward the other person that you're, that's hot. So but no, I love this movie. I think it's beautiful. It's a beautifully told, nuanced story about a time that I love to be told stories about, because we get a lot of American Civil War and
World War II,
Revolutionary War, World War II, World War One. We don't get a lot of like the French Indian War, like the stuff before the Revolutionary War. We don't get a lot of that. So
yeah,
to the point where this was almost confusing at times. And I liked that. I mean, I had to like go do a little research and be like, okay, what happens here in history, so I can have a little more context. Actually, it was like really cool. So
yeah.
I love this movie so much. Michael Mann is a master. I want to go watch Heat now.
Michael is the man.
He is the man. He really is. So, but yeah, 4.5 stars. You can take it away with the outro, bro.
All right. It is indeed outro time. Unfortunately, James isn't here with us for that. But thank you for everyone who tuned in to the live stream. And for those of you listening on the podcast feed, if you want to join in on the chats in the live stream, you can do that in the link tree below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on that. If you want to join our Facebook group, Banter Fodder, a film and television discussion group, you can also get the link to join that in the link tree below. There's a lot of great movies coming out on the horizon. So we've got The Smashing Machine coming out in a few weeks. We've got Paul Thomas Anderson's new film, One Battle After Another.
Reviews are good.
Yeah, it's getting... I mean, like, I was expecting it to review well because it's Paul Thomas Anderson, but like, this is like...
It's getting really good reviews. Yeah.
David Ehrlich, who's like...
Hater.
He's like a very, very harsh on a lot of movies.
He hates movies, actually.
He does. He said this is the best movie in like ever since like he's been a critic. So if you've got someone like that saying, like, giving it that high of praise, I'm like, man, I think we might be in for like a truly special once in a lifetime movie. So I'm like, my hype levels are like getting up there now.
Careful.
I know, but honestly,
expectations are dangerous.
Honestly, like, I'm not gonna be mad if I leave it not being like, oh, this is a 5-star, because like at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna enjoy the heck out of it. You've got Leo leading. You've also got a lot of other great actors in there, and it just looks like fun vibes. I think it'll be a fun movie. It feels very like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood coded. Like, it's got like that kind of...
It does. It kind of feels like a Quentin Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
Yeah, which is kind of what Boogie Nights is. So
okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna watch that one.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm super pumped for that.
Oh, and then we got Wake Up Dead Man. We got the trailer for that as well.
Yes, yeah, we got a lot of good movies coming out these next few months. So go support your local theaters, buy some concessions, hit up your indie theaters, go watch some movies. Until next time. Oh, actually, real quick, we're gonna be doing some Western movies.
Let's go.
Get ready for that. So yeah, stay tuned. Real soon, we're gonna be doing that. If you want to stay up to date on that, it'll be in the Facebook group. Anyways, go watch some movies. We'll see y'all next time.